Most of you by now know that I work at VIP Mortgage. A lot of you may not know why or how I got there. For us as LOs, we have a lot of options, and for me, VIP Mortgage was the perfect fit, the best place, in my opinion, to work. So if you have any questions about VIP Mortgage as an LO, or if you are a consumer and you're looking for a mortgage, you can reach out to me on social media, or you can reach out to anybody else that you may know at VIP Mortgage. And our website is vipmtginc.com. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Real Talk with Ryan Madrid. Thank you to VIP Mortgage for allowing us to have this awesome room here to do this podcast. And thank you to my nephew, Trey, over here for doing the podcast engineering, and my sister, Trisha Madrid, who handles our podcast producing, and she works for us on the Crawford team here at VIP Mortgage. So one of the best things I think about this episode is that you're the first person that we've had that does what I do, but from another company. So before I introduce you, I just want to say this. One of the things that I know you and I have actually talked about this before, but from the agent side of things, they're really good at kind of getting together from other companies, and they're doing masterminds and they're doing panels. And I think a lot of that's presented by maybe people from the mortgage industry or title industry. But they get together and they talk and they do things together, and they don't have to be working for the same company. I think it's kind of it's crappy that our business doesn't do that.
Agreed.
Like, we should be having masterminds, and we should be having things together, and we should be talking and giving best practices and helping people out, because there's enough business out there for the people that want to go after the business.
For sure.
And you and I have a really good relationship that we kind of stay away from each other's peoples. But
and we mastermind ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So my guest today is Mike Freeman from Spire Financial. Happens to be also my neighbor.
Yeah.
Lives in the same neighborhood. So, but Mike's one of those guys in the business that I think he's got a lot of friends in the business, but there's not a lot of guys that I think we roll with outside our own companies. So it's cool that we do have this relationship where we can come on, and because even like we had talked about, I was like, yeah, I'm having a guy from another company come on. People are like, what? Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't we? So, again, thanks a lot for coming. I know you were coming across town, and he's a busy guy. Mike's a busy guy.
Well, appreciate you having me.
Yeah, for sure. So he is with Spire Financial, but before we get into your basically new venture, new-ish, let's talk a little bit about the history and like where you're from and all that stuff, and we don't have to go super deep into your elementary school and everything like that, but I know you're from Colorado. Where are you from in Colorado?
Born and raised in a little town in southern Colorado called Pueblo, Colorado.
Pueblo, Colorado.
Yeah, not super proud of that one.
Is there a college in Pueblo?
There is. CSUP it's called.
CSUP.
Yeah,
Okay.
CSU Pueblo. Small town, little rough. Doesn't have the best reputation in the state of Colorado, but was there until high school, and then went up to Colorado State University and really haven't been back.
No, yeah. Where is Pueblo at on the map?
It's about an hour and a half south of Denver, right on I-25 there.
Okay. So after going to Colorado, did you, after going to CSU, did you move to Arizona, or did you go?
No, I was in CSU and then went down and lived in downtown Denver for about 6 years.
Okay.
Started working in the banking industry, working for U.S. Bank. That's who I worked for out of college. From there, got recruited to go into the title industry. Worked for Title America as a title rep, running around, having a lot of fun. That was during the big refi boom in the 90s there. And then one of my top clients recruited me to come and be a loan officer for him, Dan Brown, who's Circle of Life. I'm back with it.
Now you're working with Dan Brown again. Great guy.
Great guy.
Only met him on Zoom, but seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit further. So you're a big baseball player, right? That was like your thing, or just an athlete, but you played baseball in college.
Baseball was my better sport. Yeah.
So you're good at everything.
If I had my choice, it would have been football, but I wasn't big enough to be like Bates over here to be a big tight end.
Right.
So baseball was the one that I was the better at, and I went and tried to play, but that didn't go super well either. And I've quickly realized that's not going to be my career in life, so I better figure out what I'm going to do.
Right. And it's not like you figure it out right away, right?
Right.
So you go down to Denver, and so you're living in downtown Denver, which is fun.
Crazy.
So you work in the banking industry. So I'm assuming you were partying and having a good time. So how did that go with your first job?
Yeah.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, it was.
Just saying, mine wasn't great. So.
No, it was the banking side was right when I got out of college. So it was a 9 to 5, very structured. So I kept it pretty good there. Once I got into the title side where there were no hours, company credit card, you're supposed to be out drinking every night.
Right.
You're supposed to be at games and golfing every day.
Yeah.
That's when it started going a little sideways.
If you put it that way, the title job sounds like the dream job.
It was back then. Sorry, Banovac.
Yeah, it's changed quite a bit, I think, nowadays. I mean, but still, the job of the title person or rep is to be out.
So in those days, I mean, obviously, we're getting regulated all over by everybody these days. But back then, I'm not joking. I had a company credit card that my boss was managing my expenses, literally going, "You're not spending enough. Right. You're not taking enough people to drink. You're not out enough." He would look at my sheet and go, "Hey, what's going on? You didn't use these tickets. You didn't do this." And I'm going, "Buddy, I was at the Pepsi Center 4 nights in a row.
Right.
I need some time off." Right. "Well, you've only been to the club and played golf twice this week. What's going on? Get people out. You got to go." That's just how we did business.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Those guys, that same buddy who was my boss then is now the president of Chicago Title in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And still operates that same way. That's his deal. But we were basically professional party partners.
Right.
That's what we were.
That sounds fun.
We had a private jet. We were taking a private jet from Colorado to Arizona, taking guys down to the Phoenician to golf and all the other good stuff in Old Town. It was crazy.
Wow. That sounds like the good old days. Now it's like, you can spend $25 and buy them lunch, but don't spend any more than that.
Right.
But that Chicago Title wasn't owned by Fidelity back then, by the way, too. So, like,
correct.
They weren't owned by this huge juggernaut that controls all that stuff, and so there are more rules when you're working with a giant company like that. So, all right, so were you working with Dan when you were a title rep?
I was.
Okay, so Dan, and did he own Spire at that point?
He did.
Okay.
He had just opened Spire Financial as a brokerage, was one of my top clients, and I was working really closely with him, hanging out with him because that's what we were. We were party buddies.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he took me to lunch one day, and I just thought, hey, this is nice. One of my clients taking me to lunch. So we went and sat down at the Palm in downtown Denver, all dressed up, sitting down, and that's when he hit me with, "You're coming to work for me." And that's just how Dan approaches stuff. And I said, "Oh, I am." And he said, "You are." And he started mapping out what we were going to do, and that's when everything was humming on the mortgage side. And
what year was that?
That was 2003.
Okay.
2004. And he'd known I had been coming down to Arizona quite a bit and enjoyed it down here. And so part of the piece was we were going to open up an office here in Arizona, which we did before everything imploded, but
right.
I did it.
As Spire. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when things did implode, what did you do? And how scary of a time was that for you in your life, and where were you? Were you
I had an office here in North Scottsdale, just a single office inside with a real estate brokerage, and had about, when everything started hitting the fan, had about 20 loans out to all the different lenders that we were broken through. Spent every morning watching the Implode-O-Meter. Remember that?
I don't, but I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, every day they posted what lenders are going under, and you had to, if that was one that you had 2 or 3 deals with, you had to move them to the next one. Wow. So it sucked. Everything, it took about 2 months and went from doing really well to having absolutely nothing in 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, Stuart tells a story that him and Keith, they were at, what company was it? Well, they were at Waterfield, and it just got bought, and then like overnight they came into the office and like wires were dangling, and they had like $1 billion that needed to be funded, and couldn't be funded anywhere, and
nothing to do.
And that's when Keith called Stu and said, "Hey, you want to come down and meet Jay? I think we'll start a mortgage company." That's literally how it went. They're
really?
Like, well, should we just? He always says, "Yeah." He brought McDonald's, and like, should we start a mortgage company? And that's kind of how VIP started. But so when did you? So after when that all happened, did you stay in the business, or did you try to find something else to do, or what?
No. For the next couple of months, I played a lot of golf. My dad called me up one day and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm playing golf." He said, "You gonna be a pro golfer?" And I said, "No, I'm not that good." And he said, "Well, what are you gonna do?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't have anything much to do right now." So I went down to Texas and worked with my dad and uncle had some oil well stuff they were doing down there that they needed some help with selling, or going out and talking to ranchers and to kind of being what they call a landman, getting ranchers to give you their oil leases. So I went and did that for a few months. Quickly realized I am not the outdoorsy worker guy, oil field guy, and said, "All right, I got to figure it out." So I called up a good buddy of mine, Cody Sperber.
Yep.
Who
I was hoping you'd get into this.
Oh, really? So do you know this part?
No.
No?
Is that
I mean, I knew you guys
Laura's?
worked together somehow.
Okay.
I just never knew what.
Yeah, so Cody and I had worked together because he was a realtor in the real estate office that I had an office with when everything just imploded.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being the smart guy that he is, he was looking for a way to capitalize on the market and what was going on. So he started Adjust My Loan, which was a loan modification company. So he called me up and he said, "Hey, I need a guy who understands the loan process to come in here and help me and run this for me." So I came down, looked at what he had going. He had partnered with some guys downtown, and we started Adjust My Loan. So everybody and their brother needed a loan modification back then. That process was absolutely terrible and grinding. And we brought on, I don't know, we had 20, 25 people working for us. And unfortunately, Cody's really good at what he does in marketing. And so he threw up a couple billboards, and he was really good at the online marketing before that was even a thing, right?
Dude, I'm already just in shock right now that he had the foresight to get a website. It's just to get a domain. That's
adjustmyloan.com.
What year is this?
I'm terrible.
7 maybe?
08? 08.
Yeah. But it's still.
Yeah. And so he throws that up with a bunch of marketing. It was all branded very well. And so the next thing you know, we're 2,000 files deep in a loan modification company of a system that the lenders that you're going to don't even have figured out or know what they're doing or how to do them.
Yep.
So we got to a point where we were kind of coaching big banks like Citibank on, hey, here's what you should be doing. We're giving you what the offer is. We're giving you what the true value is. Here's how. It was crazy. So we did that for about a year and a half. And if you remember, that's when FHA loans started making a comeback because they were really kind of the main product we were all selling. Mm-hmm. And so I started dipping my toes back in because I kept, still was working a little bit on the side. And started doing a few loans here and there. And once that fully came back around to where I could get back into getting a pipeline, I moved back onto the lending side.
So let's give Cody a little plug here, though, too, because Cody has he has Clever Investor, which is he's murdered it.
He's killing it
with that. And that's basically just a wholesale program.
Have you seen his 100 million Avenger thing he's doing now? That's really cool. Where he puts just a bunch of super rich millionaires guys together that go once I think a quarter they go and party and hang out and talk about how they're going to
get richer together.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of great ideas. But yeah, Clever Investor, just absolutely
Cody Sperber. Yeah, smart guy.
I'll take you down to see his podcast room. It'll blow your mind. Looks like CCV, like my church inside there.
Really?
Yeah.
He does. So I didn't even know he did one.
Yeah, he's got a.
What's the name of his podcast? Do you know?
I don't.
Well, his Cody Sperber with Clever Investor. I'm sure you can just Google it fairly easily and find him.
I don't know if it's his, but like a space where a bunch of guys, I think.
I've heard about
huge events and stuff out of there.
Okay, that's his building.
Where he's doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, someone else was just telling me about this place and that we should go check it out.
Let me know. We'll go down there. It's amazing.
He's got like a bunch of people that people pay to go to get their stuff done there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We do that here.
Our
someday.
future.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe. We'll see. So, all right. So when you came back in the business, where did you go to AmeriFirst? Is that where you were at? Or
no? The first time back, I had a gentleman that I had been friends with that I'd worked with, Dan White, who I started talking to. Said, "Hey, I'm ready to get back into this. Where you at?" He was at Homeowners Financial Group.
Okay.
So the first company I came back to was Homeowners Financial Group. Wasn't there very long. Because I followed Dan, he was my manager, and he said, "Hey, I've got this opportunity to go to CMG Mortgage." So I said, "All right, I'm going with you." So I followed him and went to CMG Mortgage. That was a terrible experience.
I kind of remember when they had there was like a little surgeons where a couple people were going over there.
Yeah, that didn't go well.
Yeah.
So I was only there for maybe 6 months, and then I finally just said, "Dan, I gotta go my own way." And I'd met Richter.
Yep.
John
that's
Richter.
right. That's what wasn't AmeriFirst. It was
Alliance.
Alliance.
Yeah,
that's
so I
right.
met Richter, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come over and work with us here at Alliance?" And I said, "Sure." So I went to Alliance and worked there for about a year. Loved Alliance. Loved a lot of the guys that I worked with that you know.
Yep.
Alliance was then the guys at AmeriFirst actually started. One of the guys there was trying to get Kelly Cook to come over to work for him or to work with them as a realtor. Wasn't happening, but they were kind of offering some products and stuff that were really they'd always done a good job of staying out front of the tech stuff. And so Kelly came to me and said, "Hey, these guys are, they won't leave me alone, but take a look at this stuff. This is pretty good." So I kind of said, "Yeah, let's look at it. We can recreate it." And started looking at it and went, "Well, why would I recreate it when they've already got this stuff going?" So went over there, was there for a couple years, loved it.
Let's stop right there because I want to
ahead.
get to this part because I think one of the things that I think we both do fairly well, and I think it's what's kind of helped us be successful in this business is we're good at relationships, but we pick and choose who we kind of want to roll with, right? So talk a little bit about how did you and Kelly get together? Because I mean, for everybody who doesn't know, Kelly Cooks was extremely successful real estate agent, but he's not a broker, but he runs a huge team and they do a ton of business, and that's Mike's boy.
He is,
and so that doesn't hurt.
Our story is fantastic. This is a true story. So Kelly was working with another lender out of the building that I was working with right before things imploded.
Yeah.
So I'd met him a couple of times as he's in the office hanging out there during that time. And I'd see him in the gym and we'd talk every once in a while in the gym. And one day a bunch of guys said, hey, you guys want to run and play some basketball? I said, yeah, let's go. I hoop. So we jump in the gym. Kelly's in there, a couple other guys. And Kelly is one of the most competitive people you'll ever meet in your life. Almost to a fault. He's crazy.
Right.
You go
a sore loser.
Oh my God. I just was with the guy the other day at this Mavericks.
Yeah.
He played this basketball game because I beat him the first game we played. Beat him. Of course, I'm milking it, right? He played that thing, I think, 25 times in a row until he smoked my score. And I'm like, I'm off doing all this. I'm going, are you for
at
real right now?
Mavericks? What, the Papa shot?
No, yeah, the Papa shot
at Mavericks.
At Mavericks. Until he had the high score and we couldn't touch it. But that's how crazy he is.
That's funny.
So we go in this gym, we start playing basketball with these guys, and it was 3-on-3. And they dump the ball into him where he's on the post. I'm playing defense. Next thing you know, the two of us start going at it. And he's trying to knock me back. I'm trying to knock him back. He scores a bucket. I throw the ball at him. I go. Next thing you know, we're about 5 minutes into this, and we look up, and the other 4 guys aren't even playing anymore. They're literally on the sidelines looking at us going, what are you two idiots doing? And we looked up and laughed and went, we kind of forgot anybody else was even playing. We were going at it so hard.
1v1.
And from there, it was over. Yep. Well, we weren't at that time. We were in our 20s then, early 30s then. But really after that day, it was over. Started working out with him every day, hanging out. He hadn't met his wife yet, met her shortly after. But it's been boys ever since.
So you guys, and Kelly is also, he's from Nebraska and played football in Nebraska. Obviously, if you're good enough to play football in Nebraska, you're pretty serious.
And that's
athlete.
where that competitive, D1 football players are just different.
Right. So your relationship with Kelly, and you've got a bunch of other relationships. During that time, were you out partying? So he hadn't met were you still living that title life, but more of the mortgage side? Because you weren't married yet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I lived in Scottsdale. Wasn't married, no kids. Kelly and I had a few nights together.
Yeah.
And then that got, he went off and Kristen moved here and they started living together. So, you find another buddy and another buddy. And, I mean, there's no shortage of fun in this town. I mean, that's back during Barcelona's and all that. Oh my gosh.
I think that was the good times.
Oh,
too bad that they had to screw that thing up.
Yeah. How did they mess that up?
So good. All right. So you and I this is so the transition from AmeriFirst over to the next company is you went over to Fairway, right?
Right.
And I remember we were sitting on a chairlift. It's maybe the one time that we did go up snowboarding together, and you were telling me that you were going over to Fairway, and I said, okay, well, that's cool. Dude, John's a friend of both of ours, and I was like, how did he get you over there? And basically, you had called him and said, hey, dude, just give me your blueprint. I want to come over. I want to do what you did.
I didn't even ask for the blueprint. I really just said, hey, I've got some questions I'd love to ask you if you got some time. And he was very open and transparent and said, yeah, I'll answer any questions you have.
Right.
I didn't even think I wasn't that. So let's back that up real quick. The reason I reached out to John again, let me give, credit to Cody Sperber.
Yeah.
I was at a point in my career where I knew I could be doing more. I wasn't, where I wanted to be. And I went to Cody because he was the most successful business partner or business friend I had. And I said, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what I'm doing. Do you have any ideas? And he goes, well, I don't know your industry that well. He says, what does the number one guy in your industry think about that? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, who's the number one lender in town? I go, I don't know. I think I know who it is. This guy, John Tobias. I've known his wife. I worked with her at Alliance. I said, but I don't know him personally. And Cody literally looks at me and goes, you're coming to me and you haven't even sought out. And I go, no. He goes, buddy, I fly around the country meeting with the number one people in my industry. Go find that guy before you ask me anything. And I said, wow. Okay. So I called Daisy up and said, hey, can you put me in touch with your husband? And she said, sure. So that's how I met John.
So John, at that point, he was the man. I mean, he was killing it, obviously. And he had, talk about timing, I think, but he obviously hard work and knowing people was obviously something too. But dude, when John decided that he was going to leave where he left to go to Fairway, I mean, being the top dog didn't hurt, right? So,
right.
Because people wanted to go do exactly what you did, right? What is this guy doing? Like, why is he doing so much more business than everybody else? And how's he killing it so much? So, I mean, he just exploded Fairway. But you were like on the freaking forefront of that. You were one of his first people really that kind of like got involved with you. So you saw the growth of that company like nobody's business.
Yeah. When I first went to Fairway, I want to say
we were bigger than them in here.
Yeah.
In Maricopa.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I mean, where they've gone now. I mean, I think they had just done, I'm pretty sure they had just done $6-7 billion as a company for the year to where now they're doing that a month.
Right.
Right. That's how crazy they've grown.
That's so nuts. So that experience I know was good for you because obviously you grew a lot, but talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. You know, John was amazing for me in that there's certain parts if you know this because you and Stu have done this. If you want to scale in this, you have to understand how to grow a team, how to truly define their roles, what they do, when to add people, what is the first hire, the next hire, the right hire.
How do you pay? Who do you pay? How do you hire? How do you fire?
So that's one thing that he did that was great. That he just said, "Look, here's exactly how I do it. Take what you want. This is what I do," and that's a shortcut, right?
Right.
And then also where he really helped me is, you know, that was at that time. Right around then is when we started getting that real estate realtor co-marketing stuff started blowing up, right? Because Zillow was running around telling every agent in town, "Go get your lender. They'll pay for," you know what I mean? So.
Thanks, Zillow, by the way. It didn't work.
Yeah. So
we're all in the red.
That's another big piece that he taught me is not just sure go out and spend money to make money, but how do you do it the right way so that you're getting an ROA, so that you're not wasting money, how to set the right expectation with your clients, that kind of thing. So he did wonders for my career in teaching me that.
Yeah, because you definitely saw like I wouldn't say a massive growth, but your business definitely took off and you had some great relationships that you had started. And I think that like it goes back to, so we got a new LO that's starting with us or just started with us, and he's someone new to the business. And even today he asked me, it's just like, dude, everybody wants this like the magic sauce, right?
Right.
Like what is it you do and how do you do it? And I go back to then, and it's like when I was first in the business and I was running around aimlessly, didn't really, spending time at the PV tour.
Yeah.
Not knowing that there's nobody there that does loans, right? Everybody's buying these houses for cash and, going out spending so much money on coffees. And, it's like I didn't know that there was a system even that you can go in and look and see who's doing what business. And, just spinning my wheels. Like, it's so, but at the end of the day, like I always say, it's just like, dude, I just became friends with people that I thought that I could be friends with. And then you kind of just end up running with them and doing business with them. And some stay real loyal, and some don't. So
that's been my preferred model, right?
Yeah,
It's for a lot. Another big part of the reason is we spend so much time with our top clients, right? When you're doing a lot of deals with them, you're around them all the time. You're talking all the time. It's so much easier when they're people that you love to be around.
Totally,
right? Makes that job a lot easier.
Oh, dude, totally. Like, I mean, your Trisha would love this because she probably wishes that I was like you with the social media. Like, you're really good at taking pictures.
My wife does a great job too. For me.
But dude, you went to every Suns game practically, right? That was a home game, and you pretty much, had a partner with you every night, right? And you had a picture with you guys every night, and so he does a really good job with that sort of stuff. I'm not great at that. I need to be better.
But you're getting better.
But I am getting better. But all those guys were just your friends, really.
Yeah, that's what makes it easier, right?
Right. And you've done a really good job, like you said, Banavec earlier. We're both good friends with Banavec, but you guys run in like the same social circle, and so that also helps because so this is another trick out here, everybody. Get tight with somebody that you like hanging out with that's in the title business, right? Because that person, if they're successful, they can drive agents to you. You can. They can help you build relationships.
You can reciprocate, and you know they're going to be taken care of. Right, you're building a power team.
Can I ask a question? So what would either of your advice be to somebody like Ryan, the new guy Ryan? Actually I'll frame it as me. So older, right?
Yep.
Not hitting the Scottsdale scene. How does somebody approach and hit the level of success of relationships when they're not 25 and hitting the bars? And
Well,
I know you were a little bit older, Ryan. But
I was 40. So,
were you that
and
old?
by the way,
yeah, that's right.
we're not doing that anymore.
right. No, I get that. But the foundation was laid in that mode. You were single. You were doing stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
So I totally understand where you're coming from with that. And I think it's different with guys and girls too, right? So like for us, a lot of the agents that we were rolling with were just other guys that we were friends with. And yeah, I was single when I met most of our partners and stuff. So I was out more for sure. But a good example is Nick. So Nick does basically what we did right now with Mike. And Nick is married, kids.
Who's Nick?
He's my director of business development at Spire.
Okay.
Yeah. But Nick was a title guy that you pulled him. This is a great story too. Pulled him out of Kierland, right?
Pulled him out of the Westin Kierland.
He was a bartender at the Westin Kierland, and Mike, you had seen him a bunch of times, right?
Well, he was one of my best friends, and I got tired of not hanging out with him on the weekends because he was always working. And I said, we're going to fix this.
Yep. So you got him a job with Lawyer's Title. And that was what, like 4 years ago?
Yep.
God dang. It seems like, I can't believe it's been that
We
long.
got 1 year you got to throw out.
So from there, Mike took him out of title and over to being in the mortgage business. So Nick had seen that other side, but Nick is married. Nick has a daughter. He's not out like partying in Old Town. He's just a busy guy. Like he's at everything. Like he's at everything there is. Every broker open that's out there.
When I first met you, that's where you were.
Yep, doing the same.
There was an event I went to that you weren't there.
We were always there together. 2 different companies. So that I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that there is an opportunity. I think you're doing a really good job of what you're doing, right? So she does.
Thank you.
She does basically what Nick does, but she focuses heavily on one of our big accounts. But she's way more talented on things that we're not, right? So she's really good at photography. She's really good at social media. She's really good at like helping people. She was a realtor before, so she understands that side of the business, so she can have like normal conversations. So she's building that business more on the like value adds. But you are making friends with a lot of the agents, and you are going to, but a lot of the people you're going to have drinks with and stuff are females.
Yeah, I don't think I've hung out with any of the men at the brokery.
So.
No,
that's good. I think everybody finds
girls.
their niche, right?
Yeah.
Nick's different than Nick is fearless, right? When he's driving down the road and a realtor passes by in their car and they put their wrap on their car with their name and phone number, he's calling that and saying, "Hey, I just passed by you," and talking. I'm looking at him, going, "You're crazy." He was that guy dialing through lists, right? They gave him their closing list of everybody that had a closing in the branch, and he just started dialing through and meeting people. He's fearless.
Yeah.
I take a little bit more time to warm up to people, so I've got to be in groups where you're going to be around them maybe a few times before you just never. It's bad, but I'm never that guy that the first time I meet someone, it's all full of me. Like, "Hey, what's going on?" It takes a little bit for me to fill you out before I go, "Okay."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's worked, but it's not like it's not the prescription that you were going to read in a book on how to close on people.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one of our partners somebody goes, "Do you guys work together?" And he's like, "Actually, we don't, but we've been friends for like 5 years."
Yeah.
He's like, "Ryan's never asked me for any business." I was like, "Well, you should have just been giving it to me. We're friends, dude. That's how it works." But guess what?
You do have to ask.
That did lead to us getting it. But yeah, I waited a little bit too long. But I think it's not. I don't have Nick. Like that in me either.
I need to be better. There's times we walk out of meetings where he looks at me and he goes,
"Dude, like,
why didn't you try to close? Why didn't you ask?" I go, "I don't know. Let's meet with him again. Let me make sure I like him."
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because now we always say is you get to a point where you really get to choose who you want to work with, and that's a huge part, man. You spend this much time working, you have to like the people you're working with, and not only that work with you in your company, but also your partners, because it's tough, dude. Especially when they're putting pressure on your people, like your staff, there's plenty of. We've had situations, obviously, where we had realtor partners that were sending deals over, and it's so controlling over the systems and the process that it bogs down the system, and it causes issues where you have to seem like we're not a good fit. Right. Those people weren't necessarily our good friends either, by the way. But sometimes your friends aren't.
Well,
your
if
best
they
partners,
are, then it's easier to go, "Hey, you just got to trust me here.
Exactly.
You do what you're good at. Let me do what I'm good
at. Right. And we've done that too. So, why don't you throw out a little rapid fire real quick here?
Sure.
Everything we do, we've stolen from other people.
You do?
No, I made all of these up online.
No, I meant the rapid fire.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Man, I got to go with Scarface. It's
okay
just,
to say it.
yeah.
Okay to say it.
I know that's a little hood, but since I was in college, that's been my number one.
I mean, isn't that like on? It's in most people's probably top 10. Well, at least that's in our age.
Most men, middle-aged men.
It's like saying like Shawshank Redemption's not in your list too. People always say Godfather, Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Scarface.
It's kind of like me, guy from the hood, making it good. Yeah. I just want to get shot at the end.
Different type of hood from Boys in the Hood, but different type
right.
of hood. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, before we get into where you're at now. So when did you meet Nikki?
I met Nikki over the 4th of July in 2013. Sorry, babe, if I'm wrong on if it was 2012, but I think it was 2013 4th of July. No, 2012 4th of July. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha. Where?
Online.
Okay.
She hit me up online.
There you go, man.
She didn't have a good opening line. I hit her back and she said, "If you're weird, let's just stop this right now." I was like, "That's a great."
That is a great
icebreaker, babe.
That is awesome. The reason I bring up Nikki because I think Mike, for the friends that knew Mike before I knew Mike, love to tell me this, that Mike was crazy. Mike was wild. Like he was not afraid to get in a fight. He was not afraid to get out there and have fun, have a good time. And the reason why I say this is because, he's got a great relationship and great kids but he always says that like Nikki saved my life and my kids saved my life.
Yeah.
Right. And
they did. I have people all the time. Now that everybody knows about the system where you could pull numbers and everybody could see. I went through that period right after I'd met Nikki where I think the year before I had done 14 million, 17 million, something like that in production, and then did close to 30 the next year and then 45. Everybody goes, well, what changed? And I said, I met Nikki, right?
Yeah.
And she's the complete opposite of that. Still to this day, if I go out and fire it up, I get in trouble. So
right.
Quickly, there's two little words, we're pregnant, changes everything, right?
Yeah.
Now you got to really grow up and become a man and provide a life for your family. And who would have knew that, you take away all that energy that I was putting into that and put it into my business and was able to do some cool things.
It's funny because we talked about this. We had Alex Smith on a few months back, and he's with North. You know Alex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he went with us snowboarding actually. He's like big in like the 75 hard deal, and for him it's like it's like that completely like changed like his business, his life, everything, because it kept him from like going out and drinking and partying and stuff when said he couldn't because it's part of the deal and he wanted to stick to it. But the structure of being the stable, husband, father at home, it's amazing what sometimes it can do for your business.
It really is.
It really is.
When,
okay, there's the secret sauce.
There it is. Get married, have kids, settle down, do well.
Yeah. Don't
wait, I didn't do it in that order. Have kids, get married, settle.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
2. And a stepson. So 6-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 18-year-old.
Yeah. They got some of the bluest eyes you've ever seen in your life. Your son's eyes are like open, like more than most, and they're just like.
You know what's crazy too? You were talking about social media and stuff like that. If there's probably one of the biggest business development tools for me, my wife does such a good job with the kid and all their pictures on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm not joking. At least it's less now, but like last year when you're doing a refi boom, 3 or 4 people a week are calling me going, "Oh my God, first of all, I follow you and your kids. God, they're so good looking."
Wow.
I'm going, "Oh, great." And they're like, "Remember me?" And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Kids and dogs.
Yeah.
Like that's what people love to support.
Yep, they do.
I mean, it makes sense, especially during the refi boom. I had a lot of people reaching out too, just like that. I didn't know who exactly, but they weren't saying them, about my wife doing things like that. But your kids do. Well, he's got blue eyes, and so does Nikki, right?
No,
Okay.
she's got greener.
But both of your kids do, though, right?
No, my daughter's eyes are just like Nikki's.
But you and your son are.
Alice.
It's pretty freaking crazy. That one picture that's on the wall, and this is the people are like, "What are you talking about?" The one that's like right behind the couch, where your son, his eyes are just.
Yeah.
Dude, that one is freaking insane.
What's your Instagram handle?
Freeman 10.5.
Okay.
What's that?
Atlas was born on October 5th.
Gotcha.
So people ask me that. Now I should change it now that I've had a daughter too, but that's kind of the day where it got real for me.
Yeah, right.
10-5. Like 1005 or just
no,
105?
TEN.
Oh yeah.
The number 5. At Freeman_10.5.
All right.
I want to see your kid's eyes.
Yeah, wait, you see this? Remember, I should continue on, but she's gonna stop it.
Oh, we requested to follow you a while back. You have to accept
Better
it.
answer, dude.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, because I'm like really excited to see this.
All right, stalker.
Yeah, it's the Real Talk Instagram.
It's not me. You gotta have somebody managing this stuff for you, bro.
I'm good at that stuff.
I know you are. You are. Well, while he's doing that, I'm gonna just lead us into the next topic, I guess. But so Spire Financial. So you had an opportunity to go back with Dan. So Dan became a business within a business at AmeriFirst. And so basically AmeriFirst one time either gobbled him up or bought him or whatever. It's bought Spire.
Yeah, when I was at AmeriFirst, actually, Dan was looking to get out of the broker game. And I started talking to him and said, well, this company that I'm working for here in Phoenix is looking to grow. They'd like a presence in Colorado. Let me put the two of you in touch. So I went down, took him, introduced him, and he came over and had AmeriFirst absorb his company. About 10 months later, I left and went to go work with John and left those guys. Since then, he's become kind of the highest producing region and branch, and loan officers are all in his group. So a little over a year ago, he went to them and he said, I'd like to rebrand my old company, Spire, within the company and kind of break off a little bit. And they supported him and let him do it. And that's when he started talking to me, saying, hey, we'd love to get you back. And, it took a while. I was pretty happy and set at Fairway. If I'm being honest, if COVID never happened, who knows if I'd ever would have been looking to move. But with how big Fairway was and how many loan officers, they'd almost done too good of a job of recruiting and bringing on these massive producers from all over, that it was just impossible for them to handle once things kicked in at the end of last year of all the volume. And so there were a lot of pain points that they weren't going through. And Fairway had just gotten so big. I mean, I love John. The guy is amazing. Yeah. But even him, his region and everything, it's just a big company. Yeah. And so I just kind of wanted to get back to that smaller feel, have more control, have more inroads to the people at the top that make decisions when you do need to make something happen. And so I just kind of started listening. And you've met Dan now through Zoom. And he is just
he's a cool guy.
He's a cool dude. And
he's easy to like real fast.
Yeah. And he's one of my best friends in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So finally I just said, you know what? I'm open. Sometimes we tend to not do something out of fear, right? Like, am I really going to go start a brand new branch? Like I held off. I'm like, I don't want to do that. This is easy, right? Fairway's got this big name and I can throw that around everywhere. No one knows what Spire Financial is here. And I started looking at it, and Nick, thank God, being in my life, was that cheerleader behind me going, what are you talking about? We can do this. Let's go. And so I finally.
But he was still lawyers, right?
He was. Okay. But he just.
But he was ready to come on over.
He was ready. We had already been talking about doing something together. So, we met with Dan a couple of times, and I just finally said, you know what, let's take a chance here. Let's go do something. And we've loved it. Every company, it's all the same. We all have the same challenges, and nothing's perfect, but the support's there. I've got 5 what we call our captains, other branch managers that we're collaborating at least once a week, if not 2 or 3, that we're all on the same page and
doing that on your seat.
Sorry, doing a ton of stuff together. So,
but you're like the area manager, aren't you? Or okay, so you.
But there's not an area yet, right?
It's your job to create the area.
Yeah, that was and we're working on that. We're talking
caught you there
to some people in the East Valley. Will be our next area to put a branch in.
Okay,
it fits well because Nick had such a strong reach out in that side of town. So that'll come next once we're built out in Scottsdale. But it's just been, it's been scary. I've built as when you build a big, beautiful office, that costs a lot of money, right? So we've got a lot of money out right now. And now we're starting to fill the seats and bring people on. And you know, at the same time when you're trying to keep your loan business, right? Because my loan business is what's keeping the thing afloat, right? So I've got to keep that going. But at the same time, I got to be out there recruiting.
You got like 5 jobs now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank God this is done. Up until last week, I was also kind of a GC for our office build out and what's going on there. And then I had to be a party planner for our open house. And luckily that's done. But, you know, I'm out recruiting and building our loan business and so there's a lot going on. Yeah. But it's fun. I'm learning more about the business than I knew before.
Right.
You know, I've really gotten a true peek behind the curtain now.
Right.
You and I had talked about it, you know, of what I really get to see of what's going on with the company and when they're selling and where the true profit centers are and things like that. So it's been
I mean, that's a really good point. It's not like everybody should know all that stuff because they really shouldn't, because it's going to bog your mind. You're not going to, unless you're, but there are a lot of people that I think don't understand how that all that works. And once you do get into that side of it from like a branch manager side of things, it is very interesting to be like, okay, this is where you can create more income for yourself or for the branch and you know, how everything.
But it's scary too. You could lose your butt too.
For sure. No, and there's a lot of branches that don't make money. Right. And they lose money, you know, and but you got to be really good at that. It's almost like you have to have a CFO that also kind of works with you. You know, because
Dan's my CFO. He watches my P&L closer than I do.
Okay. Yeah. So no, dude, in your office is insane. It's funny because there's a real estate company in there as well.
Here. That's pretty beautiful.
This is pretty cool as well. But there's a real estate company in that same building, and I remember like they didn't know who was going to be in there, and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe there's going to be another mortgage company in here, mortgage company." And then I didn't even know you were really doing anything, right? And then when you finally told me, I was like, "Are you moving to the corridor or over in that area?" You're like, "Yep." But that building is super cool, and this is where we're jealous, but we're gonna steal it from you. Is that you built a TrackMan in there for people to come in and hit balls, and like a golf simulator, like a really nice golf simulator. They have PXG come in and basically sponsor it. For people that don't know what PXG is, it's Bob Parsons' company, golf company that's
pretty cool stuff.
Of dollars.
Yeah.
I just Googled it. Is he in Monica's building?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying not to say the name, for goodness sake. I'm just kidding. Yeah, she's a Monica.
Sorry.
Monica Monson's, they're the same building.
Yeah, that's
the Noble
such
Agency
a
plug.
Sweet place.
There we go.
So
gorgeous. He's right across the hall.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's part of the reason we had to come correct, right? You look into their space because it's all glass and you go, okay.
It's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So exactly.
What's funny is I was trying to do all that all myself. I had these guys from something going, hey, we pick out this and pick out this. I barely pick out my own socks, buddy.
Right. Yeah.
And so finally, once I saw Monica's space, I went, okay, I need to call in a designer. And, and Forward Tilt came out and did the whole thing.
Oh, that's cool. Well, that's cheap.
No. No, that's why I need to do more loans.
Yeah. I mean, dude, and furniture alone for an office building, like you never realize how expensive office furniture is.
Right.
And how long it takes
so
to make.
Go buy patio furniture and times it times 2.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's office furniture. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was hearing some of those numbers. I couldn't believe it. So how long you guys been open over there then?
We moved into the space late March, kind of in the middle of a construction zone, but we just needed to get on our own.
Yeah.
And the build out was finally done July 15th, I think, is when they finally, came in with a vacuum and cleaned up their dust and said, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
We still got it was leaking water today, so there's still got some work to do in the build out. But we're all done with the hammers and nails, and now we're just filling up desks.
We've been filling up desks pretty nicely. I mean, you went after some old friends too. I saw, huh? Some the buddy. God, this is gonna be so bad. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. That lives in our neighborhood. That was working at the bank.
Joel.
Oh
yeah.
Sorry, Joel.
Yeah.
Drew a blank on it. He only lives behind me.
Brought Joel onto my team. He was in a position where he was looking to make a change. He had been an underwriter with Wells Fargo.
But then he went into
before.
insurance, right?
He was in insurance, doing that. But he just needed something kind of, insurance, they work on just such small margins, and it takes a long time to get going. So he came to me and said, hey, I told him what I was looking for because I need another teammate.
Yeah.
And I was kind of telling him in case he came across someone, and he looked at me and he goes, I want that job.
Right.
And I said, are you serious? And he said, yeah. said, let's go.
Nice.
And he's been one of our strongest team members since. He's hilarious, man. He's
a grinder, huh?
He's a grinder. I have to throw him out of the office. Like, go home. It will be here tomorrow. We'll get it done on time, buddy. Get out of here.
Nice.
Because he puts in the work.
Well, that's cool, man. And Dan's still out of Colorado, right? So does he come out and hang out and like is he like your boss here in town? So he'll come out and like checks the
Yeah, he's come out a couple times. He's gonna be more of an off heat guy. He doesn't want to come out during the summers.
Right.
But he did just buy a place down here in the Optima, so he's gonna come down and hang out more. Now we're going. Did you know I just opened an office in Texas?
No, but I saw you've been there quite a bit.
Yeah, I went there yesterday.
Posting
the last
pictures.
Days. Yep.
At food places.
Ryan,
lots of barbecue.
You got a lot to learn
Lots of
from this
barbecue.
guy.
Lots of barbecue. Different world down there, buddy.
Yeah. Where at in Texas?
So the office is in New Braunfels, which is a little German town in between San Antonio and Austin.
Okay.
So Dan had some relationships there, some people that he brought on, and then recently asked me, hey, you want to take this on? Because my grandparents live in that area, and I said, yeah, I'll do it.
So that's going to be your branch?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. And you have to grow it from like scratch, or there are some people there now?
I've got 2 LOs and a support staff based
Okay.
out of Colorado supporting it, but I've got 2 LOs physically there now.
Nice, dude.
Can I ask a rapid fire question?
Yep.
Let's go.
All right. Name one thing you've learned the hard way.
The hard way. In terms of business, I'd have to go. One of the hardest things we have to do is to fire people and let people go. But one thing I've learned the hard way is when you know. And when you know and you let it go on too long, inevitably you end up having to do it when something really bad gets messed up or happens, and then you got to do it, where you could have avoided that if you just would have done it when you know.
Right.
So I've learned that the hard way, that some people just aren't going to be a fit no matter how much you love on them and love them and want them to do it. It's just not for them. And so you have to make tough decisions sometimes.
So let's talk really quickly about hiring then. So right now you're trying to grow. What do you think? What's been the hardest part in the whole like recruiting process and trying to like find somebody because right now, but it isn't very easy to find people that are just willing to just go over to a branch without getting paid or, getting a signing bonus and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Our industry's, a little crazy right now, right? Yep. With the dollars and numbers that are being thrown around. And I think I did an event with Jason Abrams a couple of weeks ago where he literally led into a room of all very high producing agents that if any of you think that your numbers from last year are because of you, you're in for a rude awakening, right?
Right.
And so there's still a lot of people running around thinking their 2020 numbers were solely because of them. So it's hard with how unrealistic some people are with some of that stuff, but just finding cultural fits, right? I mean, again, we're around each other so much every day. We want producers, we want people that want to grow, we want people that have like mindset, but we also want people that, we enjoy being around, that fit in with us. So, and I'm growing a brand new brand here, right? There's no name recognition. It's all got to be on me, selling them on myself and Nick and our support and what we do. We have AmeriFirst, the big company behind us, but at the same time, it's a newer brand. Yeah. But just the hardest part is just finding the right fits right now.
Yeah. It's funny. We talk about that too, is you can have a guy doing $100 million, guy or girl doing $100 million, and then somebody maybe doing 20. And if this person over here is just, it's just going to be, they're just going to bog the system. It's going to be, the cultural fit's not quite going to be there. You take the $20 million person or $20 million all day, right? If they're somebody you really like, that they're going to work hard, or they're not going to disrupt the system at all.
Right.
I mean, all day long. Right?
All day long.
Yeah.
Those people that are, I'll take this from Fairway, the humble, hungry, and smart, right? That just want to do more, right? They're thankful for what you do and what you give them and how you support them. Those are a good fit.
That's the best.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a Fairway thing? Humble, hungry, and smart?
No, I'll take that one. But
it's a mic for Spire.
Yeah.
No.
That's great.
Well, cool, man. I think that it was important for us to have people on that are in the industry that don't work for VIP, but kind of have the same,
who you should have on is Dan Brown. I'd love to get him on here when he comes down.
Well, guess what, Mike? Who should we have on? That's our question. Dan Brown would be great. Yeah, man. That would be great. 'Cause you would love this guy. He's very, very dynamic, and everybody I do know that knows him loves him.
Yeah.
And obviously he's massively successful. That usually happens to those type of people, but he seems to have the same sort of personality and attitude as we do, as far as like it's relationships and you want to work. I mean, working with people you want to work with, but
yeah, a little bit of hard work in there, right?
Yeah, there's a ton of hard work in there, but
Cody would be a great one too.
That's what I thought
if you want to get him on, I could get him on here as well.
Cody Sperber would be amazing. Dude, it's funny, Max and Patrick that we have from America One, they brought him, they were on a couple weeks ago, and they started their business by going to Cody Sperber's Clever Investor
to his
seminar.
Events.
Yeah,
nice.
That's literally how they got started. They moved here from Germany and went to Clever Investor, and boom.
That's how they found one of their top producers, like 22-year-old kid who's now like killing it.
He's been brought up here a couple of times, so I think Cody would be a good one.
Oh, okay,
that's cool.
We can put that together.
You got a good relationship with him. You can set that up for me.
Yeah.
But
what's good about Cody? I learned from him. He's one of those guys. Dan's the same way. John, all the guys I've had around me that have been mentors. You realize that it still takes hard work, even when you get to the top where those guys are. Yeah. They probably work harder than, honestly, than I do. Something, right? They work their butts off, and so it's relationships, it's hard work, it's persistence, it's doing the same stuff every day. The fundamentals haven't changed, right?
Yep.
I told those guys down in Texas the other day. I go, it's kind of like football, right? If you look at a football practice in the 1950s versus right now, the coach is still saying, break down and wrap up and drive through. It's the same, right? Our fundamentals haven't changed. Come in, work, get on the phones, call people, get in front of people, build relationships. That's all it is.
Absolutely. And a lot of people that are trying to build their business just know that not a lot of people are doing that stuff. So your competition isn't as extreme as you might think.
Right.
Because people have seasons of shutting down and just like, I can't do this anymore. And the ones that can barrel through and do it,
right,
they're the ones that basically break through and they become the uber successful. But again, dude, thank you for coming on. I think it was important for us to know that, like other LOs out there, it's okay to mastermind with other people. All right, Mike and I are going to start it.
Why don't we put our own panel together?
We're going to put it together.
Okay.
Everybody out there. And we get to cherry pick who we want on it as well.
Yeah.
And dude, it's good for us to do this because I think that the real estate side, the agent side, they do a great job of it, and they definitely do learn from each other, and it's good to have relationships with people from other companies to bounce shit off.
I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Agents, perhaps why they are better at this maybe is you always have a cross-selling agent, right?
For sure.
Where like mortgage, you're not working with the other
Never
party,
mind then.
Right? No, I swear I've never thought about this because I'm like, mortgage people don't, hang out. They don't go outside their bubbles much.
Yeah.
But you make friends when you're the listing agent and somebody's bringing you a buyer.
Right.
Well, they have an interest in working well together, right? Because they got to put deals together.
Right.
So they
sure.
do. But sometimes they'll just get territorial.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want you around. We don't do that. We've got Nick and I we do our golf event that we do monthly with. We should bring you out. We bring other lenders to come to our golf event. We're not worried about that.
Yeah, dude, that would be great. And vice versa. It's like it's not a big deal,
right?
Especially when you got the right people around you. But so again, thank you so much. I'm happy for you guys.
Thank
dude.
you.
You guys have an awesome building. Nick's a stud. He's murdering it already. But we kind of saw that was going to happen from the beginning.
Not surprised.
Yeah, and it's just cool to see some friends doing good things and big things, and it's cool to see Ryan doing his thing, and so it's inspiring, I think, and it'll inspire other people. So thanks again for coming on. Thanks again to VIP Mortgage for having us in this office, and thank you, Trey. You did a great job over here.
I appreciate all of you.
And Trisha, thank you so much for helping produce or not helping, producing the show. Everybody, again, we need you to come on to or go onto our social media and to YouTube. You can watch this on YouTube, but you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, right?
Yep.
And Spotify. But go onto our YouTube page, Real Talk with Ryan Madrid. Like and subscribe. In order for us to keep doing this, we need people to like and subscribe and share it with your friends. So, Mike, when this comes out, please,
I will promote it.
Please promote it, please. That'd be great. So we can pay for this room to be done and get them a bigger table because it's
sweet. You need help.
I know.
Thankfully, the
I've
audience
given
can't
them permission to get a new table, but it just doesn't seem to happen. But I think I need to probably pull the trigger on that one too. But we're getting close. Anyways, everybody, please help us out, like and subscribe, and go on and check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thanks again, Mike Freeman from Spire Financial. Thanks. We're out. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Real Talk is brought to you by escrow, the letter S, grow. Disorganization and constant communication are huge problems in the real estate journey. And it's an issue that I think most real estate agents, well, at least some real estate agents, struggle with in their CRM systems. There's a lot of options out there, and a lot of people have different ones. And when I'm speaking with the agents that we work with, or that are our referral partners, the big hurdle is the actual creation of the templates and actually creating the automation that goes out for milestones. So escrow kind of takes all that away. So everything's pre-written for you. You have multiple choices to go from, to choose from, I'm sorry. So if you're looking for a CRM system that is super easy to use and will eliminate a lot of the confusion and the heavy lifting up front, go to escrow.com, the letter S, grow.com.
VIP Mortgage Incorporated does business in accordance with the Federal Fair Lending Laws, NMLS ID 145502. For state-specific licensing, please visit www.vipmtginc.com/national-licenses/. VIP is not acting on behalf of or at the direction of the FHA, HUD, or the federal government. VIP is an equal housing lender.